What's up, guys, and welcome back to another edition of Competitive Edge Podcast. So today, our guest is a local fan favorite for me in real estate, Josh Anderson. I've known Josh for years. He's built an amazing team. If you don't know him, you will love him after this conversation today. We're going to dive into real estate, personal branding, where you should be spending your time there, but also leading a team. And I think many of us, those that are listening today, you either are leading a team today or you want to grow a team. So it's not just you being a solopreneur. We're going to talk about some of those differences. We were jamming before the show about LinkedIn versus Instagram and all of those things there. But the market has changed. And for many of us in 2025, what does that look like today? How can you get in the market? How can you win? We're going to talk about all that because you got a real estate pro and professional. And I might throw some things in there about mortgage. We'll probably talk about that and how you can win no matter where you are in the real estate game. So Josh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
We've been working on it a few months, and you're moving fast, I'm moving fast,
That's right.
And the market's picked up. We were talking about that. So I'm going to start there because I think a lot of people are just wondering just your overall take on the market, because most people read the headlines.
Yeah.
They're getting the news from maybe the wrong sources, but what are you seeing and what's happening out there right now?
Yeah, it's an interesting market. That's the best term right now. It's one of those things that buyers think it's a buyer's market, sellers think it's a seller's market. Neither one of them are wrong. Neither one of them are right. I think a lot of it has to do with what price point are they looking in, what part of town. Is it a condo? Is it a townhouse? Is it a single family home? When you get pretty much every county in Middle Tennessee, if you look from a county level, everything by definition, less than 6 months worth of inventory is a seller's market. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to put an asterisk there and say, when you get down into that zip code level and when you get down into that neighborhood or area level, it changes completely because, people like to talk about Nashville and North Nashville, South Nashville. It's all completely different. Like real estate's completely hyper local. Yeah. I mean, my office is on one side of 21st Avenue and my house is on the other side of 21st Avenue. Two totally different markets. Yeah. Not dramatically, but like they get a different price per square foot. So you can't cross over a major intersection like that or a highway or an interstate. And so that's where I tell people, everybody knows 5 realtors, go find a realtor that's actually experienced and that can have a conversation with you after deciphering the pie charts, the graphs, the data, the information. And too many agents aren't doing enough deals. They're not experienced enough, so they can't have the conversation. So then those consumers are still confused and they ultimately don't do anything or they do the wrong thing. Yeah,
I love that. Well, let's talk about your experience because the people that don't know you, let's go back because you've been in the game for a while. You've built a very successful team. I mean, I think back, I'm like, man, you're one of the most consistent people that I see out there, always producing, always having team members where I go, man, you're growing team members, which is not the norm in mortgage and real estate. A lot of people get there, but they don't bring people with them. But let's give a little background, your history in real estate and all.
Yeah, so I got into real estate in April. It was April 1st, 2006, so April Fool's Day. Yeah, I mean, great time to get into real estate. So I graduated in finance and economics, worked in investment bank for a year or two, and then got into real estate. And, I saw about a year and a half worth of good real estate before, what happened, 2008, which people say that 2008 to 10 or 11 was like historically the worst real estate market in the history of real estate. And while that's probably true, I would tell you after 19 years in the business, the market that we're in currently is a more interesting, weird, bizarre market than that time. At least when the mortgage meltdown happened, you were very clear about what happened. Yeah. Right now, nobody's real clear. Yeah. Between tariffs and stock market and interest rates and all the other little variables that are happening, it's very difficult to decipher. Yeah. So, 19 years in the business. Sometimes I feel like I got in last week, and sometimes I feel like it's been like 4 decades. It's just
I feel part the same.
Of it. Yeah. But I'm having fun doing it. So
let's talk about that because I was in the business. I got in 2001, and a lot of people want to compare that market, 07, 08, and they're trying to compare it to now. And I think you bring up an interesting comparison of they feel they're different economically. There's different data points and all that. But that one did definitely. I mean, it hit like a train wreck. Like it hit hard. You knew what it was, and then we all had to kind of rebound. This one seems to be going on. It's up. It's down. Like, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I also think that we also came off of the strongest real estate market that we've ever seen, which was created largely due to COVID, and people could work from home and they could live anywhere and all those things. So, the Nashville market went up somewhere in the 40-50% range over a 2.5 year period. And then we got to like June 2022 and rates went up to 8% from, being at 2.75 or 3. And then that was like a screeching halt, and everybody was like, what's going on? And from there, it's just kind of gone through little micro changes. And I think if you're a realtor doing 1 or 2 deals, 3 deals a year, you don't know what's going on.
That's right.
You're just kind of behind the 8 ball constantly. You're probably not great at negotiating, because negotiating takes, tactics and skills and hacks, but it also takes reps.
That's right. And
after doing probably 3,000 or 4,000 purchase and sale agreements and writing offers and going under contract and having 3,000 clients, like it just, you learn a certain amount.
Yeah.
And that's not, tooting my own horn. It's just, it's time on task over time.
Yeah.
And, I think one of the things that you said earlier, for me, I'm certainly not the smartest in the room or any room, but I'm willing to outwork anybody, and I'm willing to be consistent. And I think consistency for me, at least my definition of consistency, is it's the currency of business.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because I've seen you, and you train yourself.
Yep.
And I see you putting reps in, and you're doing the role playing and all that stuff with your team. How important is that for real estate agents today? I think the same is true for mortgage, right? I'd put them together in this. How are you constantly evolving? You talked about negotiating and staying up on the trends and the data.
Yeah.
How do you stay up on that? Because you're somebody I do, like when you post something, I'm listening.
Yeah, we constantly talk about it as a team. I mean, we had our team meetings are on Wednesdays. We go over all the data from Greater Nashville Realtors. We pull up stuff from different media sources. We pull up stuff on MLS. They have an analytics section, and you can type in county, you can type in zip code, you can type in area, and it tells you, April of 2024 versus April of 2025. That's the most, the latest data, because we haven't gotten through May yet. But it's like average days on the market is up 16% in Davidson County from April of 2024, and it shows how much inventory versus how much, that stuff's important. I mean, even if you have to memorize it, you sound like an expert when you're having conversations, and you can regurgitate that information at a high level and actually explain it.
Yeah.
So we always say in our office, we're actually a personal development company that happens to be in real estate.
Love that.
And because, like, if you're not developing yourself personally and professionally, what are you doing?
That's right.
Like, you got it. It doesn't matter. It's you versus you every day. Like, how do you get better than you were yesterday? It can be 1%. It can be 1/10 of 1%. But as long as you're better than you were yesterday, or you learned something. So it's like, go listen. Everybody's like, where do you learn all this stuff? And it's like, man, I've earned the opportunity to be in certain rooms and certain masterminds. I've also paid to be in some of those rooms. But also, I listen to podcasts constantly. I read books constantly. Sometimes I read part of a book and it's not serving me at the time, so I put it down and I bring it back, 6 months later. So it's just, man, you gotta go get in a room. It doesn't matter if you're not in a room today. Just go get in a room. Yeah. I
think about that all the time. Like, the rooms you've been in and the rooms I've been at, they're transformational.
Absolutely.
Connections you meet, the information you get.
Well, it's like the 5 people, right? So you need the 5 people that you can surround yourself that are better than you in all aspects of your life. So it's spiritual, it's fitness, health, nutrition, it's business, job, career, all the things. And if you hang out with 5 people that are more successful than you or fitter than you, you're going to, by default, go out of your way to be better.
Moving that way.
Yeah.
If somebody's looking to get in a room like that, I get people always ask, hey, where should I go? What should I do? And all that. Are there any of those that you recommend, or how to find the right room for where they are and to seek that out?
Yeah. Look, if you don't have any money, go. Some of the things I did early on, like, go get in some of the Facebook groups and just either post or don't post and be a voyeur and just go read posts that other people are putting, and go read a lot of the comments and start forming your own opinion. And then from there, go get into, if you can't afford one-on-one coaching, go get into some kind of fast track or group coaching program. Maybe there's 50 people in a coaching program. You have to invest in yourself.
That's right.
Like, That's the deal in the world that we live in. Nobody cares. The world doesn't care. Like, you got to go out of your way to go research to find the rooms to get in that are going to help you. It can be, look, if your thing's marketing, if it's branding, if it's whatever it is, go all in on it.
Yeah.
Like, I had a good friend move from one state to another. He knew exactly this many people when he moved to Florida, and he just decided, I'm going all in on YouTube. Never done it before.
Wow.
And he makes millions off of YouTube. I mean, he makes a ton of money off of just, and he didn't get a single lead for 84 videos.
Wow.
And he looks back now and he was
Stuck
like,
with
God, these videos were awful. But you had to start somewhere, and that's a natural evolution. Like, I looked at a picture of myself like 5 years ago, and I was like, why'd y'all let me get like this?
Yes.
You know, and it's like COVID got me back into like wanting to get in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in better shape or not, but I feel better.
Look good. I'll say I noticed that, and it's like,
yeah.
I think that's everybody's seeking.
It's energy. It's all the things, but you can't operate at your highest level for your family or for God or for your business if you're not. You've got one body. You got to take care of it, and it's you either operate at the highest level or you don't.
Amen.
One of the conversations I was having with a friend the other day is, he said, "Man, I eat. It's like it's comfort." And I said, "Dude, you gotta start eating like you're a jet fighter.
That's right.
Like you're fueling a jet fighter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's hard, but." I
struggle
with it. I struggle with my 13 and 15-year-old. You know, they like the sugar, and so did I at that time.
When they pull out the donuts and all that, I'm like, okay, there's self-control here, Brian. Like, you're setting the example.
Yeah.
And I had a similar thing with that. And last year I saw a picture when we left the Bahamas, and I remember I saw it, and it just shocked me in my core. It's like, oh man, you're sucking in, you're turning to the side. Like, I knew I wasn't comfortable. I'm like, I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
I even had a friend tell me, he goes, man, you look good. I'm like, no, I don't. I said, you need to hold me to a higher standard. This is where we're going. Hey guys, it's Brian here. I hope you are enjoying the show. By the way, if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur looking to grow your personal brand, make a bigger impact, maybe increase your leads and grow your revenue, let's help you get started today by connecting up with my friends over at the Brand Builders Group. You've heard me talk about them, but if you're new here, this is definitely the first step to get you started in turning your reputation into revenue. Head over to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey. Again, to set up your free brand call, go to freebrandcall.com/Brian Covey to set up a free strategy call with one of the team at Brand Builders, and they will dive into your specific goals for how you want to grow your personal brand. I can't wait to hear how it goes. Do you think that's the great separator between the average and the great of this training and being in the right rooms? And what have you seen separates? Because it seems like the best are getting better.
Yeah.
And the others are falling.
I kind of subscribe to the Nick Saban. You've got 4 options in life. You can be good, you can be great, you can be excellent, or you can be elite. And like, those are your 4 options in all aspects of your life. And so, yes, I think the people that aren't doing it are falling that much further behind. And I think the people that are going out of their way are getting ahead. Even if they don't feel like they're getting ahead, I think if they look back after 365 days, they're like, I mean, if you work out 5 days a week for an entire year and you start eating differently, you're going to see a difference.
Oh, big time.
Maybe not in the first 30 days.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is with New Year's resolutions and everything else is we live in a world where you can swipe left or right, up or down, whatever. You can do whatever you want and get something immediately. And fitness is the ultimate success story, right? Like, you can't hack it in any way. It just takes time in the gym, and it takes not eating out of a window, and like, you got to do all the things right. It's the only thing, like, you can pay to collaborate, you can pay to do all these things in the world. You can't pay to get healthy.
No. And
so to me, being fit at 45 is a bigger flex than having whatever in your bank account.
That's changed.
Yeah.
So it used to be, it's like, man,
for sure.
Yeah, everybody's like success and what you're driving, and did you fly the private plane, all these things, and you're like, I look at it now, and both of us having kids, I'm like, no, man, like they're
Yeah.
not going to remember. They aren't
Yeah.
going to know what wealth we've accumulated. Like, they want to know, was my dad present? Was he
Yeah.
there? And was he healthy
Well,
enough?
and it doesn't matter how much money you make if you can't live long enough to enjoy it,
At
or
all.
see your kids enjoy it, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Or if you're working so much that you're not present on the vacations, even though you're physically there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you went to the Four Seasons and
Yeah.
like whatever. It doesn't matter. So,
How do you keep your mindset strong? Because I watch and kind of observe, and I mean, we deal with a very volatile, emotional industry,
Yeah.
right? With customers that things don't always work out and all that. How do you keep your mindset strong so that you can battle those things every day and stay focused on what matters?
Yeah, I would say the number one thing I do is I go work out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know I'm bringing this back to working out, but like that allows me to escape and just go push weights and like do it. I'm also a major proponent of sauna and plunge.
Yeah.
I think if you cold plunge every morning for 3 minutes, there's nothing else you're doing harder.
No.
It's totally mental.
Uh-huh.
Like it's cold, but it's not. It's more just having to force yourself to get into cold water for 3 minutes.
First get in there.
And so some people just won't do it. My wife won't do it, but it's one of those things that if you can do that, you get out and you feel like you can run through a brick wall.
Oh yeah.
And so I do things like that. I also listen to motivational or leadership podcasts. I read books constantly. I'm also in rooms that I have access to. I can pick up the phone and call anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I find myself like down a little bit, I'll just call somebody that's either going to make me laugh or somebody I can actually talk to about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the secret. I was like, where's the secret? It's like you just laid it out. You get your physical health in order. You do the hard things, those, and then you put yourself around people that you have access to. They're like, man, if I'm struggling or I need to make an important decision or I need guidance, you don't have these people.
That's right.
Solopreneurs don't make it far.
Yeah. Business is also pretty simple. It's not always easy, but it's pretty simple. Yeah. And maybe people don't understand or decipher the difference, but it's a simple process. Like you can do a handful of really basic things. The basics actually are the most fundamental things that create the most amount of success when you look at like an 80-20 rule or anything like that. Everybody in real estate wants to go to the shiny objects.
Yeah.
Those are fun. It's the, how do I go get 100 deals a year from Instagram? Well, you don't. I mean, tell me if it's scalable, but there's probably one or two people, a handful of people in the United States that are realtors that are doing 100 deals a year.
Straight from there
And nothing else.
Yeah.
And so you can build a business around it, but it's just one leg of your business for that. But yeah, I mean, look, the things in business that I always think about is show up on time's early, do what you say you're going to do. I mean, just this week, I literally got out of my bed, opened up my computer and sent an email because I told the person I'd do it before the end of the day. And like, your word is everything.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Your word, your reputation, your character, whatever you want to call it, but your word's your word.
Yeah.
And my kids even use that on me. Well, you said you were going to do it, Dad.
Oh, that's the best when they use that on you. You're like, yeah, we did. My daughter's doing 75 hard right now, so I put a little plug. She's walking, so at night we're doing this 45-minute walks together and all that outside. And she's like, I said I'd go walk. So I'm going with her, just create that routine and habit. And I'm like, you said you'd go. I'm like, yeah. And I've already worked out twice today or worked out, had heavy leg day where I'm like, but we're going to go.
We're going to go.
You said we would do that.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
We're going to do this.
I love all the little, the one-liners that are businessy one-liners, and they use them on me.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And at least I know they're listening.
Well, so when they repeat it back, you go, okay.
Which is awesome and a little bit scary because they hear a lot more than we think they hear.
What's the best one they've used back on you?
Oh man, you've got me on the spot. I'll think and I'll tell you one in a minute. But yeah, it's just all the little things. It's like you pick something up from a mastermind and you say it. Because my wife is like, she's like, you've always got these like business one-liners that are, and I'm like, yeah, I mean that's what you live your life by.
Yeah.
Because if they're business pieces, they can go over into your personal life as well. So
we got a good one on if you've ever shared this. So we got in our garage gym. We converted my garage is like detached and the whole CrossFit setup and gym.
Yeah.
and it says, nobody cares, work
Work
harder.
harder. Yeah, I've got that in my office.
They've used that on me. They're like, Dad, nobody cares. You just got to work hard. I'm like, that was a tough workout. They're like, nobody cares. Like,
one of the ones, I have a shirt that says think like a CEO.
oh, I like that.
And my 13-year-old's always like, Dad, you really need to be thinking like a CEO. Like,
yeah. You know what?
You know what?
We're on it. We're on it.
Awesome.
Well,
Good.
speaking of that, we talked a little about Instagram, but we
Yep.
were both on the same page with LinkedIn.
Yep.
And I love it. Let's talk about that strategy and why you're going there and what you've done, because I think it's unique, and you're going in there and you're actually seeing results, but you've got a strategy. You're not just...
Yeah. So I like LinkedIn because my ideal client's there.
Yeah.
You know, when I really peel back where our business comes from, it's past clients, it's Sphere, and then it's referral sources like financial advisors, probate attorneys, small business owners, executives, things like that. And really, if I gave you my avatar of who my ideal client is, it's actually someone very similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're married, they have 2 or 3 kids, they're in their 30s or 40s, all the things. And that can evolve over time. When I first got in the business, my ideal client was a first-time home buyer.
Yeah,
because I had just bought a house,
Yes.
and so it grows over time. But I like LinkedIn because that's exactly where those people are, and they're there on that platform for a very specific reason: to network, to get information, whether it's inspirational, leadership, motivation, connect with people. And so one of the things I've been doing is posting 4 to 5 times a week, and playing around with different times and images or no image. And, it's very different. I'm not putting hashtags on there. I'm not doing all those things you can, but it's storytelling. So like we have kind of 4 or 5 pillars that we post off of. And it's like, the first one I did that got a ton of reach and impressions and all the things was really about having a farm an hour from Nashville. And it was a picture of our house with the land and my wife and kids in it with our dog. And I think it just resonates with a ton of people on LinkedIn because, who doesn't want a farm? And probably a lot of them have a farm or a lake house or something.
Sure.
But the whole idea was, this is where my family goes to get away from the city, and just, the memories, the experiences, all the things that we've created out there. It's on the river. We can go fishing, kayaking, all the things.
That's awesome.
And so it's just, one of the last ones we posted was like a picture of a Anderson Group mug. And this guy, I actually met with him 2 weeks ago, and he was like, hey, I was talking to my trust attorney about putting my house in a trust and blah, blah, blah. And I was drinking a cup of coffee, and I looked down, and it happened to be the Anderson Group Real Estate Services cup of coffee. And he is a past client. But it was like nice to know that you've got this $5 mug that is sitting around people's houses branding 24/7 every time they open their. And so it was one of those deals where it was like, that's really nice. It got me back in front of a $2 million buyer or seller. Sorry.
How cool is that?
And same way with all the little things. It's just how do you stay in front of people? How can you get LinkedIn to work for you, or Instagram or Facebook 24/7? And if business owners started looking like, hey, this is an online billboard 24/7, 365. I think, and it's free. And they would look at it a little bit different and probably say, you know what, I need to time block maybe 30 minutes a day to post. And not just post, you need to also interact with other people that are following you or that you follow, and comment, like, all the things. So I think for me, where I'm at, I love LinkedIn. I'm also, those are the people that I want to go hang out with. Those are the people I want to build businesses with, invest with, things like that. So,
and let's dive deeper on your avatar, because I love how you talk about, many people don't talk about this, is like your avatar shifted as you've shifted.
Yep.
I think that's important. Most people don't even know. I feel like they're just marketing to this massive audience, and it's like, and it's no one.
Yeah, you're throwing something against the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
You can still work with people outside of your avatar, and most of us do. But if I could build my own perfect client, they would be in their 30s or 40s. They're married. They have 2, 3, 4 kids, whatever it is. They're established in their business, and they probably like some of the same things I like. They probably work out. They're fit. They make, $250 to $500+ a year.
Yeah.
I mean, just getting super granular. So here's how I explain it to the guys on my team, or all the people on my team, is like, if you lost your dog and you knew your dog was in your neighborhood, but you were like, okay, I need to go put up a sign or I need to post on Nextdoor or something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just say, lost dog, call this number. You would be able to describe your dog at an extremely high level. His name, what type of collar, exactly where the spots are on his paws or his, whatever. And you would do that to go find your dog.
I love that.
So why don't we do that for our business?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Most people don't know. Like, we talk about recruiting, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this too. People, as they're recruiting, and I know you do a lot of that, and bringing people in and then training them, but the recruiting aspect, most people don't know who they're going after. How has that evolved for you, and how do you look for team members now? Is that different, or is it you have a strategy? Yeah,
we definitely have a strategy, and I would say, when I boil it down to one thing, would I go have lunch or a beer with this person? And if you look around in your organization over the years, I mean, you've been in business long enough, there's probably, whether you hired them or not, was there somebody that reported to you that you wouldn't go have a beer with? And the answer is probably yes, somewhere
along
up
the way,
in there.
for sure.
Yeah. And so looking back on that, and that, it's like, do they have work ethic? Do they have some amount of grit? Do they present themselves well? And we've got this whole, like, all these things, it's just over time you learn these things, like, sometimes now, well, not sometimes, we now have to ask, do you have reliable transportation? You'd think that for real estate, but we had a girl that showed up in a Mercedes SUV, and she shared it with her sister, who was also a realtor at 2 different brokerages.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can be a little complex.
Probably a problem if you're both showing houses on the same day at the same time. But, it's just stuff like that over time historically we have always found people that had some level of success in another industry, and they were burnt out in that industry, or they were looking for a change. We brought them in and we trained them to be really great. Doesn't mean that we're not willing. I think in the market that we're in today, we're looking for that person that I just described, but we're also looking for the agent that, let's look at their year to date or their last 12 months or 3 or 5 year track record. And so we've got this software that shows us, for the last 12 months, this person's down 61%. Now granted, they might have only done 6 deals and now they're doing, 3.5 deals. And so, but can we get them back to the 6 deals, and then in that next 12 months get them to 24 transactions? And so we've literally had no one in our organization that's ever come in and done the things that we said that we needed you to do that didn't hit 24 transactions in 12 months.
Love that.
And we've had so many. I mean, you've seen some of them over the years, but we've had a 30-year-old single girl that went from 11 transactions to working with us and doing over 100 in 1 year, making $440,000 a year, and this was in 2012. In today's market, I just ran the numbers a couple of days ago because I was interested. At our average price point now, she would have made like $1.3 million last year.
Wow.
Because when we were doing that, our average price point was like $225. Now it's $670. And so $670 for our team, not for the market. But it's one of those things that is like, I know we have the systems and processes, we have the branding, we have the marketing, we have the leads, we have the support, and we have the training. And if somebody plugs in, they can make as much money as they want with us.
They're going to win. What's some of the greatest?
The hard part right now, sorry to interrupt you. The hard part right now is it seems people are so prideful that I'm surprised right now that there aren't more people moving solo agent to a team, or from a team that oversold them to a team that might actually have all the spokes of a wheel that can actually get them up and going. And so I'm a little surprised there isn't more movement in the market than there is.
What do you think's holding them back?
Pride. I think it's partly pride. I think it's partly analysis paralysis. I think a lot of brokerages overpromise and underdeliver. And I think that there's a lot of agents that are that maybe have been on teams before or at brokerages before that are using their last experience and not be willing and open to have a conversation. And, maybe rightfully so, but man, in a market where you went from 6 deals to 2, even if you've got a good price point, like I'm looking at a lot of these people that have year to date, we're almost 6 months or 5 full months into the year, and you've made $17,000 in commission. That's gross before you pay your office and taxes, and that's a struggle. That means you either have a significant other that has enough to allow you to do that, or you're driving Uber, Postmates, you're doing something
else.
There's something, or you're just not surviving, because we all know how much it takes to live decent to well in Nashville, Tennessee today.
Oh yeah, it's changed.
Yeah, it's changed.
So I love your perspective on this. Is greatest lessons you've learned in real estate that you would pass on to people?
I think the greatest, I'll give you 3 things. Timing's everything. Over communicate the important stuff, and do the basics at a super high level. And I can dig into those, but it's pretty simple. Like timing really is everything in real estate. And I think there's a lot of people that think they can time the market and the interest rates. And if you timed the market and interest rates, I'm going to tell you, you got lucky. Because you can't. You can't time the stock market, although I think Warren Buffett did a pretty good job this last time around.
Oh yeah.
You just can't consistently time the market. Over communicating the important stuff, if you're working with a buyer or a seller, you gotta communicate at a high level. Like you can't make assumptions because they've owned 4 houses over the last 40 years that they know what to do, because today's market's different.
That's right.
It just is. And we're always anticipating can we anticipate for our client the next 3 things?
Yes.
Can we anticipate what might potentially happen from different angles of this transaction? So, and then do the basics. Like the basics are always going to work in the market that we're in, or any market that we're in. Everybody likes the shiny objects, and that's fine. Getting creative is fine, but doing the basics, people don't like to do it because it's boring. It's repetitive, it's redundant, and people just don't like doing it. I'm telling you, my calendar does not look different than it did in 2006 when I learned this from Gary Keller.
Wow.
Like it largely is almost the exact same. It's worked for 20 years. Like, why would I change it?
Yeah.
And everybody wants to fight me on it, but at the end of the day, it works.
You got the proof.
Yeah. One of the biggest, the 2 or 3 biggest things I see from talking to other agents and doing little masterminds in our office with outside agents, they're struggling. The biggest thing they're struggling with is time management. They know, it's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. You know what you need to be doing. Like you probably should be making phone calls at certain times, or you should be doing some kind of dollar productive activity. Yeah. But most agents struggle with time management and time blocking. And then they're struggling with, it's just analysis paralysis. They know what they need to do, but they just can't sit there and do it day in and day out for 90 days. But if they did it for 90 days, things would show up that have never shown up in their life before.
It would change the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about this 90-day sprint framework.
And their bank account would look different, and their it's just like 90 days in the gym.
Yeah.
90 days of eating healthy. Like you don't even have to go to the gym if you don't want to. If you just ate really clean and healthy, you would look and feel better.
You'd have wins.
You wouldn't be bogged down.
That's right.
I don't know if you ever do intermittent fasting, but if you don't eat for 24 to 48 hours, my mental clarity is through the roof.
Yeah.
And I think the food just makes us tired and lethargic, and
the wrong foods and that emotional attachment. I learned that last year. You're talking about your friend that had. I was like, man, I realized I was just eating to eat. It's like I'm not even hungry.
I've definitely walked around my house in the last couple months bored and just opening up the pantry and my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I don't know. I'm just bored. I'm not hungry, but I'm kind of snacky.
Yeah. But it's developing that routine and the habit. You said the basics.
That's right.
Then we reprogrammed in, got some healthier options, and then I tend to go to water. I'm like, I'm just gonna drink a glass of water. If I'm still hungry in 15 minutes,
that's right.
Then maybe I need some fuel.
If everybody listening to this would just eat enough protein, you wouldn't snack at nighttime.
Isn't that the truth?
If you ate 150 to 200 grams of protein, depending on your weight, but if you're female and you weigh under 150 pounds, if you're 100 to 120 grams of protein, if you're a dude that weighs 175 to 200 and you get 150 plus, you literally wouldn't snack. No junk food. Because your protein prioritization
Yeah.
would keep you satiated. Like you wouldn't ever be hungry.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's all the things now. At that age that I always say, it's like we've moved into this world. It's like this is no longer an option.
Yeah, my 20-year-old self would be like, "Who are you, dude?"
I know.
But I feel good.
You know what? It's almost you have to be the uncommon and
That's
the
right.
one that's the outlier.
That's right.
If you want to be an elite,
Yeah.
like Saban talks about.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been awesome.
Yeah.
I know we could jam forever. But you have dropped some wisdom that hopefully people will go back and listen to this, whether in real estate, financial planning, mortgage, all of our crew that usually listens.
Yeah.
Ton of value.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Dude, I
man.
appreciate
It's
you.
Awesome.
That's been good. Guys, it's been awesome. You can go back and listen to this because I know I'm going to look forward to going back and making some notes because some things Josh shared, it just triggered things I know. And you probably listened and you're like, yeah, I know that. But are you doing it? And there's some things where I could tighten it up here. I could get better there. And it's the basics. And when we talked about Saban, I think about the best coaches have not only just changed my life, but they've changed the way I think and then how I influence and lead others. And so if that's you, guys, share this with someone that you love, you care about. If you're a team leader, share it with your team. This is a great way for you to set the standard for them and to be that person that leads by example. And so we covered some health and fitness, which you knew that was going to come into play with Josh and I. But we want to talk to you guys about this last piece, which is leave us a review. I always, say this is free. We put these things on. We invest in this because I believe those relationships and depositing for the future of whether you work with us, you don't work with us. The reality is if we can make your life better and help you win, that'll come back around. And so if we can help you though, I am going to put that in there. Let Josh know on the real estate side. Let me know on the mortgage side. We got you guys. We'll take care of you anywhere in the country. And until then, make sure you go subscribe, give us the 5-star review, leave us a little review if something resonated with you today, and share this with at least one person. At least one person needs to hear the message today, and you can be the one that actually introduced them to the show or to what Josh is doing. Guys, have a great one. See you on the next episode.